In this video, we are going to discuss what's going to happen in your first class. And when you find your passion, it ignites you as a person. You just feel awesome. To start, we'll do some like housekeeping things, some generalities. So first of all,
Hey. What's up?
No shoes on the mat, so don't walk on the mat with your shoes on, big no-no. Most schools have you bow when you get on and off the mat. You're going to probably feel sweaty and awkward. I have a video on why awkward matters, especially like towards the females. So definitely watch that. And then for what to wear, typically you can walk in like typical workout gear. They'll either let you do the class in that or they'll give you a gi. I also have some videos on wardrobe malfunctions, like specifically towards females, so definitely watch that one. But the meat of the class is definitely this, okay? What nobody tells you, or what nobody told me when I first walked in,
9:30.
is the warm-ups actually have skill involved. There's actually techniques in the warm-up that were completely new to me, that's specific to Jiu Jitsu. So we're gonna cover those movements now. That way when you get in there and you do the warm-ups before class, you'll be prepared. There's a B. Yeah, so I'm gonna cover those techniques during this video, and then my next video I will do the entire warm-up. I've been to two different schools, one when I lived in Maine and another in Massachusetts, and the warm-ups between the two schools varied a little bit, but we're gonna do my next video, the entire warm-up, this video, the most technical moves, that way you can do the entire warm-up. And we'll also cover the top mistakes that I see beginners do with these movements. All right, so the first movement that we're gonna go over is the front roll and then the back roll. So front roll, basically get on your knees, shoot your hand back, get your elbow down, and get your opposite hip. So if my left arm is through my legs, picture your right hip hitting the ground right in front of your head. So it's gonna look something like this. You want the roll to be in a straight line. So arm through, my right hip is gonna be like that. I'm on a hill, my key just came out. But it's basically gonna look something like that. So arm through, my right hip is gonna go there. And there we go. You wanna make it straight, as straight as possible. I'm on a downward slope right now, but you get the idea. The number one mistake that happens with this move is kind of like the side roll that happens. So people will go like this and they'll just like kind of roll over to the side. In order to get the forward movement, concentrate on that hip hitting in front of your face or in front of your head. So like that. The next movement is the backward roll. So basically what we want to do is we want to be able to roll backwards. The most common mistake that happens with this is rolling on your neck and not on your shoulder. So basically you don't want your neck in the equation because you could injure it. You want to get on your shoulder as your back roll. So the back roll looks something like this, and you land on your knees. Next, we're going to do some break falls. So the interesting thing about forward and back rolls and why they're important is they're in some movement. So for example, if you're going to be doing there's some rolls into knee bars that you could be doing, like a forward roll into a knee bar. They're actually quite useful in real life. I recently picked up mountain biking, and when I jumped off my bike, I've done both a front roll and a back roll, and it saves me. As for break falls are super important because it teaches you how to fall correctly. I remember when I first started Jiu Jitsu, one of my teammates, we were doing some judo throws, and she hurt her wrist because of incorrectly doing a break fall. So typically before we learn any jiu-jitsu, if you're going to fall, a lot of people will break their fall by putting their hand on the ground, and that is a big no-no. Like, you're going to end up hurting your wrist or hurting your hand if you don't train yourself out of that gut reaction. So basically what a break fall is, it's the ability to fall and disperse the energy. That way it's not on one specific location, which causes the overall impact to be dispersed, so it's not at a very high level in one area. So if the energy is dispersed throughout my whole body, then it feels a lot better than if it's localized. If everything is on my wrist as I fall, then there's a much higher percentage chance of it breaking because of all that force. So you'll typically see like slap outs. So for example, if I were to do a back break fall, what I want to keep in mind is I want to get my butt close to my feet. That minimizes the loading on my butt, and then slap out my hands. So it looks something like this. And then you can also do side break falls. You can begin by going on your toes and having one leg out like this. That way you don't have anything to lean on in this direction, and then slap out. So yeah, those are the break falls. Those are very key, especially when you start learning takedowns. If somebody's performing a takedown on you in practice, you want to be able to do these break falls so that you don't end up injuring yourself. Super important. Finally, we have shrimping out and shrimping in. Shrimping out is super important and shrimping in is super important in a lot of the moves. Especially as a beginner, shrimping out will get you, will allow you to escape being on the bottom of positions, and when you first start you are going to be on the bottom a lot. So these two movements are very pivotal, and the backward shrimp is definitely easier than the forward shrimp, so we're going to cover the backward shrimp first. Alright, so we basically start like this. You're going to lift your hips up, roll onto your shoulder, and push your butt back as you touch your toes. So like that. So again, lift up, rotate onto your shoulder, push your hands down as you press your butt back. And then to forward shrimp, you are here, you're going to reach down, and then you're going to bring your butt to your feet. And you typically do this down the mat, so I'll give you an example of what it looks like if you are shrimping down the mat. So that would be forward shrimping down the mat. Definitely the thing that I've seen most beginners struggle with. So practice that a few times, and this would be shrimping back down the mat. Now I'm going to give you an example of forward rolling. So keep in mind, I am on an incline, so it's not going to be completely perfect, but also pay attention to my foot position when I come out of the roll, because if you're rolling forward down the mat, you want to be able to have your feet in a position that you can easily stand up from. And then backwards. I literally just broke my tripod. All right, so there is one last move that I want to go over. This move is very important when it comes to self-defense, and this is the technical stand-up. So let me just put you down on the ground, and we'll go over the technical stand-up. So basically, you're on the ground, you know, from here they might have you do some kicks, but basically you want to get from this position and you want to get up. So you use your backhand post to drive your body up, and then you step back with your leg and you stand up. And you can kick, or you can push and get up. So again, you can be here, you can do a kick and up in base, or you can do a post as if you're posting on your opponent while you stand up. And the technical stand up, it's a way to get up without leaving yourself open to offensive movements. So it's a great defensive way to get up to minimize the risk of getting kicked, getting kicked in the face, because who likes that? So yeah, so just either kick or post, use that backhand to raise your butt up, get your back leg up, and stand up. All right, so I guess I will buy a new tripod on Amazon now. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm sure you're gonna do awesome on your first day, and congrats.
Let's creep while you and me repeat. This bittersweet heat is suffocating. I'm waiting and always hesitating. Kryptonite desires set my heart afire.